All right, so yeah, ayahuasca. Wow. What did I learn from it? There's many people making videos and talking about all the incredible things they gained from it, incredible experiences, visual experiences, meeting aliens, meeting different entities, incredible healing. But I guess for me, the thing that, as I look back on it and when I really kind of reflect on it, the most important lesson that I got from it, and the thing that I experienced at the deepest level, was the fact that, at the end of the day, life and what we truly are is so much beyond what we are led to believe and what we are brought up to believe. And the universe, and the reason I called this video To God and Back, is because I really felt like I met God, and I had an experience of that intelligence and a kind of a communication with it, and it just clarified to me something that I remember kind of feeling like I knew when I was a child. And I think so many of us just instinctively know when we're children that life is magical, that life is a beautiful experience, and that nature that we all come into life, that inherent nature of wanting to play, is in some ways the most true essence of the intelligence of existence itself. Because although I could sit here and talk a lot about all the amazing, mind-blowing, interdimensional visuals and all this kind of stuff, at the end of the day, the most profound thing that I was left feeling was that the intelligence behind all of this, and there is one, and my God, it is just beyond comprehension. It's so hard to explain, but that intelligence, which people tend to call God, when I felt like I got as close to it as I could, and it was so blindingly impressive, so awe-inspiring, that it brought me to my knees. And yet when I inquired and I asked during my ayahuasca journeys, and I said, like, who are you? What is the truth of who you are? Like, what is your essence? I want to know you beyond your forms, beyond all of your impressive creation. Like, what are you at your heart? And what I saw, and it's so beautiful, I saw a room, like a wood panelled room, and there was just like a window and like light shining through this window, and I saw all these little dust motes floating. And in this room there was a child, a very young child, like a toddler, and he was just completely engrossed in what he was doing. And on the floor there was this box, and in the box were all these different costumes, all these different masks. It was a dress-up box, and this young child was just playing and taking out these different masks and then going behind a curtain to put on a different change of clothes, and then sticking his little head around the curtain and smiling in hysterics and laughing, and was just playing with all of these different characters, all of these different dress-ups. And what I felt, what I intuited and kind of experienced from this, was that what we call God is, in its essence, is like a divine child, and it is playing with its own creation. The reason anything exists is purely to be experienced. It's to be, the meaning of life is to experience life, to see the beauty in life, and to play with it. And just like when you play with different costumes, when you're a child and you play dress up and you play out of your imagination, you change and you switch quickly as soon as you want to do something else. You might be a cowboy one moment, and the next minute you want to be a spaceman and fly to the moon, and you switch. There's no crying, there's no lamenting the fact that you've changed your forms or you're now doing something different. you're just in such a space of joy that there's always something new and original to become, always a different experience. And that's what I felt, that the essence of life and creation itself actually really is. And all of the kind of the suffering that you can experience in life, and the things that come up to be healed, and in ayahuasca ceremonies you definitely go through quite some intense experiences, and you might have heard of it, it's called purging, and you have this bucket, and at some point, no doubt, you start to feel that feeling, that kind of dreaded feeling you get when you know that something's about to kind of is coming up to be puked up, essentially. But what I learned from that was that suffering in life, we suffer when we hold on to things that we don't want to face, because they make us feel so uncomfortable. And yet, because they make us so uncomfortable, ironically we hold on to them, because if we hold on to them, we can hold on to them whilst distracting ourselves from them. You know, you feel anxious, you feel anxiety, you don't like how it feels in your body, you distract yourself, you drink alcohol, you find a comfort food, you look at your phone. You know, on a very surface level, that's how it works. And on a deeper level, this stuff that maybe happened a long time ago to us, past traumas, painful experiences, they get pushed down, and sometimes we're not even aware that these things are still inside of us. And the amazing thing about ayahuasca, the profound intelligence that ayahuasca has, is that it knows exactly where to go inside of you as an individual to bring these things to the surface. And the only choice you really have is whether you surrender to that and allow it to move and come out of you, or you try and fight it. And if you try and fight it, you're going to have a rough ride, definitely. It's not going to be a pleasant experience. But if you surrender to it and you realize that all this stuff is coming up out of love in order to allow you to move on, and to also realize that no matter what fears you hold, no matter what things that have happened to you, you are so much more than any of those experiences themselves. That is the healing power of a plant medicine like ayahuasca. And yeah, it's pretty crazy intense when you start to purge, and it's like nothing else. It kind of does feel like having a literal exorcism, but it feels so good afterwards, and you feel this surge of life energy again. It's like you really do feel like you are just emptying all this kind of sludge out of yourself, not just physically, but on a kind of on a deeper level, a psychological level, old limiting beliefs, old fears. And it doesn't all happen in one night, it doesn't happen in one retreat. I've done 3 ceremonies, and yeah, I'd definitely like to return and do more, and I will. But when it comes to finding yourself back in the everyday world, when it finds yourself being back in a human body again, that's kind of when the work starts. Because when you're not in that beautiful space that ayahuasca opens up, when you haven't necessarily got that kind of guiding spirit in you, I think it's always in you at a certain level, but when you're kind of back amongst the noise of human life, you know, you can start to lose that connection again. And that's really when the work, I think, begins, because that's, if you really want to take anything from these ayahuasca experiences other than just, you know, this amazing, mind-blowing, higher consciousness kind of experience, which is absolutely awesome, of course it is, but if you want to be able to kind of carry the essence of that in your life, it's kind of, for me, it's about making a commitment. And it's been hard, man, because it's brought up a lot of stuff that's got in the way of me doing this in my normal life. It's brought up some real kind of quite painful old feelings and beliefs that I've had about myself. But it's about trying to find that same courage, that same belief that you can find in these kind of ceremonial settings, and being able to live that in your everyday life, and to live a life where you're you're not afraid to open your heart, even if your heart hurts. You're not afraid to be yourself, even if the anxiety inside of yourself is trying to prevent you, you know? Not because you're trying to get rid of anything, but because you're fully prepared to just accept and feel what is inside of you and alive in you. And that's the key, to stop resisting it so it can naturally come up to the surface and be healed when the time is right. And I think when it comes to integrating these incredible experiences, that's really the most important part of it, is making a commitment to live a different kind of life, where you're not running away from the things that frighten you anymore, where you're not just going back to essentially falling asleep. It's about finding that awareness inside of yourself to really value yourself and to value every day of your life, and to want to make the most of you being here. And for me, the courage I take from what I experience is the fact that, as difficult and as heavy and as serious as things can feel in life, even healing, even spirituality, underneath all of it, there is a playfulness. There is a real divine playfulness. And if you can reconnect to that and not be afraid of looking things in the face, but at the same time looking at it with a kind of a slightly playful detachment, then it really helps just make life feel magical again. And the hardest thing is kind of just finding yourself back in the everyday world, where it might feel like maybe you're the only person who, in your family, in your workplace, in the street, it kind of wants to live like that. But the truth is, I think secretly everyone wants to live like that. Everyone wants to live a life where they don't feel afraid to express themselves, to sing, to dance, but also not afraid to say, hey, I'm in a lot of pain, I'm scared, I don't feel safe, I just need a hug. That's the kind of world that we can have. But it comes down to us as individuals as being prepared to take the risk and to step up and to be seen, no longer adhering to the old restrictive kind of conditioned behaviors that so many of us have been brought up into, and all of that kind of fear-based, repressed negativity, and also a mindset just wants to control everything. So yeah, that's what I learned, but putting it into action, that's a different thing. But in the next videos that I'm going to be making on this channel, I'm going to go a bit more into detail about what those things are. I'm going to be talking a lot more about mental health. I'm going to be talking about pain. I'm going to be talking about all of those fears, those really scary stuff, like the real raw stuff. I'm going to be talking about heartbreak. I'm going to be talking about when you feel on your own, when you feel like you're unlovable, essentially. Like, I'm going to go into like some of the worst kind of things that you can feel as a human being, and try and just help shed some light on what I've learned, what I've experienced myself personally, and understanding that the way that you get through these things is by opening up and surrendering to them, but also not being afraid to find support and to share them with other people, because that's what makes you realize that beneath all of that, you are so incredibly powerful, you are so incredibly courageous, and you are so incredibly full of so much love that maybe you don't even realize it, but it's already all inside of you. It's just about removing those layers, and just so you can see the light that is already trying to shine through. I guess that's about it, really. So if any of that sounds like stuff that's phones are going off, it's time to wrap this up. If any of that sounds like stuff you'd like to see, then please give this video a like, subscribe to my channel, and stay tuned. And Much love to you wherever you are in the world, and have a great day. Peace.